Hello guys, what's going on? This is Teacher Leo. I hope that you're really fine in your house. I know that this situation can be really hard for you and for me and for everyone, but let me tell you that we are working really hard to provide you the best information in the way that you can learn it in the best way. So please, in this moment, you just need to pay attention and take your seat. So we're gonna start. Okay, we're gonna start with a review about Unit 3. So in this case, we have a vocabulary and we have three pictures. So if you can see in the pictures, number one, we can see that they are alone, right? So how she doesn't have boyfriend and he doesn't have girlfriend, we can say that they are single, right? Okay, in the picture number two, how he has girlfriend and she has boyfriend. uh, Imagine that they ask her if she wants to marry him. We can say that they are engaged, right? So in the last picture, uh, we can see that they get married, so we can say that they are married, right?
Okay, in this part, when they get engaged, we use two different titles. In this case, we use fiance when we're talking about him, and we use fiance when we are talking about she. For example, here it says they're engaged. He's her fiance. They're engaged. She's his fiance. Okay, in this part, we have three pictures again. But in the first picture, you have a couple that is separate. The key part is understand that they use left the relationship, but there's something by law that still make them engaged or married in this case, right? Okay, in the second picture, you have to take a look. They by law are separate because there is a paper signed by the judge. Okay, so for understand the difference, the first one is without a liar, and the second one uh, is when they take a decision, but they each sign the paper. And the first one, they just take a decision. And the last one is when you are married and by any reason your couple die. It is normally used by women. So in this case, we say that she's widow, right? Okay, now we're gonna do a little review about simple present, right? Remember when we are talking about simple present, we need to follow the next structure. First, when we are talking about affirmative statements, we need to use the subject or the pronoun plus the verb in the base form when we're using I, you, we and they, we use the verb in the base form, right? But when we are talking about he, she, and it, we add an s at the end of the verb. In this case, we have some examples here that says, I read my English book. She buys an ice cream. That is when we are talking about affirmative statements. Now, when we are talking about negative statements, we need to use also this, the pronoun plus the auxiliary verb. In this case, we use do or does. In negative, that is don't and does. We use do, or in this case don't, when we are talking about I, you, we and they. And we use doesn't when we are talking about he, she, and it. For example, we have here two examples that says, I don't want to eat pizza. He doesn't like sushi. How you can see when we are talking about third person, we don't have to use the s at the end of the verb because we are using the auxiliary verb. In this case, we are using doesn't, right? Also, when we are talking about simple present, when we use the verbs, we need to follow some rules. In this case, verbs ending in double s, x, ch, sh, and o. In these cases, you need to add an es. For example, I kiss, he kisses. You fix, she fixes. We watch, she watches. I wash, he washes. They go, it goes. Also, you don't have to forget that we have another verbs like do. We use does when we are talking about third person, or have, and we use has when we are talking about third person. For example, she has a cat, he has a car. In this part, we want to talk about information questions with simple present. Okay, remember when you want to know something about someone, you use what, who, when, where, why, how often, how much, or something like that, right? So in this case, you need to follow the next structure. First one, you need to write the question plus the auxiliary verb. In this case, you use do for I, you, we, and they, and does for he, she, and it, right? Later, you need to use the verb in the base form. For example, where do you work? Where does she study? What do you like? What does he eat? Okay, guys, we almost finished the presentation, so please pay attention one more time. In this case, we're going to start talking about similarities and difference. In this case, we have here similarities. If you can see the first picture, you can see that we have two girls. In this case, it could be a mother with her daughter, and you can see that they are very similar. So we're gonna say that they look alike. So in the picture number two, we can see that they're using the same clothes. I mean that they are using formal clothes. So we can say they wear the same kind of clothes, right? And in the picture number three, we can see that they are listening music and they are dancing. So we can say that they both like rock music. So when we are talking about similarities, is when we have something in common with our family or with our friends, right? Okay, we want to talk about difference now. In this case, in the picture number one, we can see that they look different. Why? Because they're using different clothes. One of them have more hair and something like that, right? Also, in the picture number two, we can say that they wear different kind of clothes. Why? Because uh, his dad is using formal clothes, while his son is using casual clothes. Okay. Well, in the last pictures, we have two cases. In this case, in the first case, we have that the song is singing rock music, so we can say that he likes rock music or I like rock music, right? But in the second case, we have that his father doesn't like rock music, so we can say that he likes classical music. Okay, okay, guys, thank you so much for your attention. Please don't forget that we need to follow the instructions of our Mr. President. Remember that you need to do your homeworks. Please listen to the instructions of your parents, and I hope you see you soon. remember that if you have any questions, don't be hesitate to write us to our mails because we are more than glad to assist you. So have a good day.